Hey, it's Gabi. One of my kids is driving me crazy, pushing on every button, challenging, teenager-like, lack of appreciation, attitude, have to have the last word, in your face, bleh. And I know it's natural, and I know it's good, healthy development to kick and push on everything around you and form your own identity by disidentifying yourself with the parents. And I know it's the very typical and natural and healthy way, and it's just challenging. It's just not a rewarding period of time right now. It's like constant tension, constant fighting about everything. Just a bitchy attitude to everyone from the moment the eyes open, sometimes until going to bed. And it's like draining and exhausting, and just had a, I don't know, a 20-minute, and I just want to share what I'm doing. First of all, I'm grateful. I'm very, 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 very grateful, because this is highlighting for me things that are obviously very unresolved inside of me, because you can't, someone can push on your buttons, but they're pushing on your buttons. They're your buttons. And that person didn't put them there. They're just here to highlight the fact that you haven't resolved them yet. So thank you. So I do have work to do, and I recognize that those buttons are being pushed, and that it's just an invitation for me to do my work. And the other thing that I recognize is that this is natural and healthy. And thank God that I have healthy and natural children who go through the natural and healthy process of finding out who they are. It's okay. It's okay. I'm wise enough, and I'm strong enough, and I'm mature enough to be able to give my children that space. But at the same time, I'm wise enough and I'm strong enough as a parent to be a leader and say, these are the boundaries of discipline. You will not speak to me this way. You will not call me an idiot. No, that is unacceptable. You will not roll your eyes at me. You will not yell at me. You will not say something at me and then close your ears or slam a door. I will not accept that. And I'm learning how to stand before that challenge and say, this is what is expected of you, and I will say it to you in a very calm and assertive voice with complete clarity. And if I need to, I'll put my hand on your shoulder to let you know that I'm serious, because you will listen, because I said so, because I'm the parenting leader, and you will respect. And two things that are happening around that. One is that we are getting rid of a lot of privileges. You will not speak to me like a piece of trash and then demand that I give you spending money. You will not create fights and tension with everyone within spitting distance of you and then expect people to go buy you dessert or gifts or take you out at night. So we've really reduced a lot of privileges, and we've said very clearly to this child, our responsibility to you. And this I learned from Dr. Phil in Family First. It was a really excellent book. That when you have a child who is treating you like dirt and who thinks you owe him the world, you need to let him know very quickly what you owe him and what you don't. And I told my child, as your parent, I am responsible to give you food, clothing, and education, and shelter. That's it. Besides those four things, food, clothing, education, and shelter, everything else is a frill. Everything else is a bonus. And I will feed you. I don't have to feed you really delicious stuff that you love. I will clothe you. I don't have to buy you the pretty little extra things that you want. I will give you a bed to sleep in. I will educate you. It doesn't have to be fun. We're doing that. So that's one thing very, very, very clear, is when your child starts to act like prince or princess of the world and have attitude and demand that you give him all the things that they should appreciate when they really don't, just cut them out. Cut them out. I remember there was even a story in that book that I really remembered about this teenager who was acting disgusting. The parents took everything out of their room except for the bed and said, this is your room right now. All the posters, all the extras, all the whatever. And then when the child started behaving like a human being, a decent human being that gave appreciation for what they had, then they gave him back slowly the computer, their iPod, their other things. Everything else is a bonus. And especially my kids traveling the world, they see that. We have met so many children whose parents cannot provide those four things, cannot provide clothing, shelter, education, and food. And they're going to learn that it's a privilege. And if you treat me like dirt, I will definitely take those privileges away from you. Hopefully not with too much of a sinister grin, but you'll learn your place and it's appreciation. So that's one thing. And the other thing is I have a spouse who will stand behind me 100%. And I appreciate that more than I can say. There's definitely an attempt constantly to wedge between the two of us. But Mom said, but Dad's not like that. Why are you so mean? Dad loves me. I love my favorite. Dad's my favorite. Dad would never, and he doesn't accept that either. And I really appreciate that. Every day, there was another squabble and I was in the room and my child said, well, she, and he snapped and he said, you will not call her she. You will respect her. She is your mother. You can say mother. She's in the room. Don't talk about her as if you're talking behind her back. And I appreciated that. And he said to my child, anything you say that is offensive or insulting to your mother, you're insulting me and I won't accept it. And you will not speak that way. And I so appreciate that I have a united front. I have a partner who says, I am standing here and I will not let this become a personal issue. We will stand behind this together. So I wanted to share with you that and some of the solutions that we're going through. And another thing that's helping me very much, and I've talked about it in several of my courses, is I pretend that there's someone watching me in these hard situations, so I stay within the limits of control. I don't turn into threatening, bickering, bitchy mom. I stay respectful. And there's a particular friend who had been with us for 7 weeks, who had traveled with us, who really admired our parenting and who loves me and admires me and loves us and admires us. And when things get really ugly, then I'll pretend that that person is there watching and that I will act in ways that will make him proud of me. That will make him say, there it is, Gabi. That's the parenting example that I so admired and want one day for me and my family. So that helps me as well, to pretend that that person is there and parent and act as if he's watching. So I think that helps a lot. I hope you have the tools that you need to deal with the frustration of a child who's acting ridiculously disrespectful, who's going through the natural push away stages. If you do, I'd love to hear. I hope some of these tips have been able to help. I'm going through it now, here and now, and I'm using all of my resources. And sometimes when I hit like, my husband says, okay, Gabi, you're the parenting expert. If a parent came to you and said they were going through this, what would you recommend? And that helps me to take a step back and say, okay, well, if this mother, had this situation, this is what I would tell her. And that's what I'm doing. So I really hope that this sharing helps. And I'd love to hear anything that you're going through, anything you found that works for you, any of the major frustrations you're still dealing with. Being a parent is not easy. It's not easy. It's not always rewarding, and no one ever really tells us how to do it. So, it's the real thing. It requires you to go deep inside of your gut and get the best and the worst of who you are and take it out there. So anyway, love to hear from you. Any thoughts? And I will keep reflecting on my process, and I'm doing well. I'm really proud of myself, and I want you to be proud of yourself too. Bye. Have a good